Hi, I'm Marc Childs from Childs Davidson. Welcome to our video series on FMCG issues. Today I want to talk to you about the rather difficult subject of pricing transparency and why I think that for many companies it might be timely to revisit. I know this is controversial, and I want to preface my comments by saying that each company needs to evaluate its own commercial realities before getting into this subject. But let's back up for a moment. I know the vast majority of manufacturers like the flexibility of being able to negotiate prices and terms on a case-by-case basis with individual customers because it gives them the flexibility to pragmatically resolve issues with those customers. The problem is, customers know that too. And of course, it's one of the things that fuels their constant aggressive push on every manufacturer to come up with better prices. A very small minority of manufacturers already get this, and some have attempted to, maybe even now are attempting to enforce one consistent price list across their whole customer base. They argue, and I think quite credibly, that this makes for much better quality relationships with customers because it removes uncertainties and increases the level of trust and allows them to focus on joint business development rather than on quibbling over pricing and terms all the time. I know this is very tough to make work. It takes a huge amount of resolution. It's hard to convince customers that you actually mean it and that the price list is one that's a level playing field across all customers. And it's particularly difficult at a time when some customers, maybe many customers, are rejecting price increases from manufacturers. So why now? Why raise this when trading conditions are so difficult already? Well, consider the following four major issues going on in the commercial scene. Firstly, pure play e-commerce customers like Amazon will disrupt existing pricing models because their approach to pricing is totally different from the big box retailers. They'll also increase pricing transparency and break down geographic barriers. Secondly, powerful individual retailers, and most particularly the buying groups that have emerged in Europe, are determined to squeeze manufacturers, convinced that there's money to be had if they apply pressure in the right way. So pricing is up for grabs everywhere. Thirdly, there's been a surge in the number of retailers in Europe, North America, Australasia, and even in Africa seeking to implement net pricing strategies, potentially removing the complexities in trading terms that are so useful to manufacturers in being able to provide room to maneuver. Fourthly and finally, there's been a progression in the decoupling of pricing strategy between what manufacturers recommend and what the retailers actually implement. And we've had many examples where companies have, for example, proposed a price increase that's been rejected, and then the retailer goes ahead and changes those prices anyway, often without notification to the manufacturer. So the amount of influence that manufacturers have over pricing strategy at shelf has been in decline for some time now. Now, I realize this is a big call to make, and I'm probably oversimplifying. And I don't blame sales leaders who prefer to not rock the boat in these difficult times. For some, maybe even for many, brands are simply not strong enough to withstand the kind of discipline that's required to make this work. But I remain convinced that this is, as a general proposition, the right thing to be considering at this point in time. Those who can make this step will be much more strongly placed to face the uncertainties and disruptions that certainly lie ahead of us in this industry. I recommend that everybody at least take a look and make a medium-term risk assessment of doing nothing versus adopting a transparent pricing strategy. This is Marc Childs from Childs Davidson. Thank you for watching.